Now, back live with Andrew Bolt with the Bolt Report.
As I told you last week, Professor Peter Ridd is a Great Barrier Reef expert who was sacked by James Cook University in Queensland for questioning claims by colleagues that the reef was being destroyed by global warming.
We can no longer trust the scientific organisations like the Australian Institute of Marine Science, even things like the ARC Centre of Excellence for Coral Reef Studies. A lot of this stuff is coming out, which the science is coming out not properly checked, tested or replicated.
Now, Peter Ridd has been in court this week fighting his sacking, saying it is unlawful and an attack on free speech and on academic freedom. I'm joined now by Gideon Rozner, Policy Director of the Institute of Public Affairs, who's been in court this week following this extraordinary and important case. Gideon, it's good to see you again. What has happened so far?
Well, so we're currently in day 2 out of 3 in the hearings, Andrew, and day 1 was mostly just Peter's barrister Stuart Wood QC making the arguments on behalf of Peter, generally, doing it well, but generally covering what we already knew about the case. Today was a lot more explosive. Today, Peter went into the witness box and faced cross-examination by Chris Murdoch QC, the barrister acting for JCU. Now, the strategy they attempted to engage in was pretty clear. What they tried to set up was the idea that Peter had engaged in this gratuitous personal vendetta against colleagues and very personal attacks. But Peter was very, very poised, very, very calm and very, very measured and really refused to give an inch on that argument. Peter stuck to his guns insofar that his only problem was always and only limited to the science, the bad science coming out of James Cook University and its affiliated organisations on the Great Barrier Reef and the so-called scare on climate change.
The university's lawyer that you referred to, or the barrister, was saying that Peter Ridd was specifically censured for saying that the university, in the grab we just showed, the university and the Australian Institute of Marine Science could no longer be trusted on global warming science because they were emotionally attached and their studies were not properly checked. Now, that is very tough criticism. He accepted that in his evidence today. Very tough criticism of colleagues. I can understand a university would not like his colleagues to be attacked like that, but should it be a sacking offence?
Well, Andrew, look, the most incredible part of today, from my point of view, was when Chris Murdoch said in court, in what I think was maybe a little bit of an unguarded moment, that the academic freedom right that given to the university, to its staff, is, quote, not as widespread as Dr. Ridd claims it is. That's an extraordinary thing for a barrister acting on behalf of a university to be saying. This is a university. Academic freedom and freedom of speech should be everything. It should be paramount. Yet here we are, a QC hired, with our tax dollars, I might add, saying that academic freedom given to university professors should be construed narrowly. Universities may very well be a place where vigorous disagreement happens. It may very well be a case where people do say things like, as Peter Ridd said, that certain science can't be trusted. But that's all in the name for academic inquiry. That's all in the name of the search for truth. It was an extraordinary admission by the legal team acting for JCU.
I know, and the double standards, of course. I mean, you've had academics at Sydney University who are promoting North Korea, defending, Bashar al-Assad, and you've had, of course, infamously, Geoffrey Blaney, our greatest living historian, or greatest ever historian, really, driven out of Melbourne University for his views on immigration. But Peter Ridd can't question the global warming science. Well, how about that? What's going to happen next?
So we'll go into day 3 tomorrow. All that remains is for Stuart Wood to wrap up the case on behalf of Peter Ridd, the complainant, and then the court adjourns and we wait for a decision by the judge. My personal instinct is that it's going pretty well for Peter. I think that he may very well get a victory here. But Andrew, as I said on your program last week, we have to ask ourselves, how many Peter Ridds are there who aren't coming forward, who are seeing bad science in the name of climate change and other things for that matter, who are being gagged and silenced by university administrators? It's great that we're having this out in the public domain and in court, but we really have to ask ourselves how good a job are our universities doing in upholding the rights of academics to engage in rigorous debates and the search for truth.
That's an excellent point, and that worries me so greatly too. I mean, we know Peter Reid is a man of uncommon courage and principle. He's also had support, luckily, from the Institute of Public Affairs. But, you know, to meet his and crowdfunding for his legal fees. But the only reason he said, I think, he stood up, or one of the reasons, was that he was near the end of his career and could afford to take that risk. How many younger researchers do not? This is a very important case. Thank you so much for your update, Gideon Rozner from the IPA.